Before we begin, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share your thoughts or takeaways in the comments. These stories aren't just tales, they're lived lessons. Now let's get into it. My name is Vanessa Turner. I'm 52 years old, born and raised in Montgomery, Alabama, and for a decade, I truly believed my marriage to Maurice would last forever. We met on a sticky July afternoon at my cousin Keisha's annual backyard cookout. Maurice had that warm, southern gentleman energy, the kind that makes you feel seen. He wore a weathered denim button-up and that smile. You know the kind, the one that feels like sunshine after a long shift. I was working as a trauma nurse back then, pulling double shifts at St. Anne's Hospital. He was between jobs, helping his brother with carpentry gigs. But every time he looked at me, it was like the world stopped. I'd spent my life caring for others. He made me feel like someone wanted to care for me. I built a life around him. Slowly, carefully, brick by brick. Because isn't that what love's supposed to be? Turns out, the things you build out of love can sometimes be the very things that bring you to your knees. I cooked, cleaned. I made our little rented house feel like a home. When his mama fell ill, I was the one to sponge her forehead and whisper scriptures over her when she couldn't sleep. Maurice. He got nervous around sickness. I held him through his layoffs. Not once but twice. Cut corners, skipped vacations, picked up weekend shifts. His sister's son, Jamal, lived with us for nearly a year when she hit a rough patch. I packed that boy's lunch, ironed his uniforms, and helped him with math homework after my 12-hour ER shifts. I never complained. Because that's what love does. It shows up, tired, sore, and empty, and still gives more. But all the while I was quietly putting money away. My daddy, Vernon, used to say, "Always have your own, Nessa. Even if you marry a saint, life don't promise you security." Daddy worked at the steel mill until his spine gave out. But Mama never once had to ask another soul for help. That stuck with me. So I tucked away part of every paycheck into my pension. Skipped new shoes. Skipped the vacation Maurice kept saying we'd get to. That pension was my pride. My safety net. My promise to Daddy's memory. Maurice. He had ideas about money. He liked to flash when he had it. New sneakers, nights out, the latest phone. But when things dried up, he always turned to me. "You've got that nurse's mind for numbers," he'd say. Kissing my forehead like that made it all okay. Back then I thought it was trust. Now, I wonder if it was just laziness disguised as charm. But I didn't see it at first. Not clearly. The signs were there, like hairline cracks in a wine glass. The late work meetings, even though he was doing freelance. The cologne I never bought. The way his phone suddenly had a password. How he'd flinch if I walked in while he was texting. But I told myself every couple goes through rough seasons. That we were fine, just tired. I prayed for us every night, even when his side of the bed stayed cold. But then came the moment I couldn't ignore. He stopped going to church. That was our thing. Every Sunday morning, pew 7, third row from the back at Christwell Baptist. Rain or shine. We sat hip to hip, holding hands during the choir's closing hymn. Then one week he said he was tired. The next week, had errands. Then nothing. I sat alone in that pew for 6 straight Sundays, gripping the hymnal like it could hold me together. Then came the lipstick. It was soft pink, not my color. Too pale for my skin tone. I found it on his collar after laundry. When I asked him about it, he chuckled like I was crazy. Said a coworker hugged him goodbye. I wanted to believe him. But that night my heart felt different. Keisha, that same cousin who introduced us, came over with a pan of peach cobbler and 2 plastic spoons. "You don't have to pretend, Nessa," she whispered. "We see you. You don't gotta carry this alone." My sister Rachel started calling every night. My best friend Denise. She drove me to work and back for weeks just so I'd eat something other than saltines and coffee. These women, my circle, they held me up when I couldn't stand. And then came Tuesday. I'll never forget it. I came home from a double shift, still in scrubs, and there it was. A manila envelope on the kitchen table. Inside, divorce papers. No note. No apology. Just his signature and a yellow post-it that read, "We'll talk later." I dropped the envelope. My hands shook so hard I couldn't even turn the pages. Years. Just gone. Like I was a phase he'd outgrown. Then I saw it. Page 7. He wanted half my pension. Half of my safety net. The money I built with missed lunches and overtime. While he bought gadgets and shoes. That was the moment my heartbreak turned into fire. But Maurice didn't know everything. 3 years earlier, after my second hospital layoff, I'd started planning for the worst. Quietly. I cashed out my pension early, took the penalty, and invested the majority into a dream I'd been nursing since childhood. A mobile soul food kitchen. I didn't tell a soul. Not even Denise. After shifts I learned the business. Weekends, I worked on recipes passed down from Mama and Aunt May. Smothered pork chops. Catfish sandwiches. Cornbread muffins so soft you'd think they whispered a prayer on your tongue. Save. Hustled. I tested everything on friends and neighbors. Slowly I built something that was mine, completely mine. When Maurice filed for divorce, I didn't flinch. Smiled. Kept playing the long game. My lawyer, Ms. Helen Carter, sharp as a tack and twice as quick, prepped everything. She'd seen men like Maurice before. On court day, I walked in with a navy pantsuit and steel in my spine. My friends sat behind me, silent but present. Maurice strolled in smirking like he already saw the check clearing. He had no idea. The judge flipped through the paperwork, then paused. "There appears to be no pension to divide," she said flatly. "It was liquidated and legally transferred 2 years ago." Maurice blinked, then blinked again. "No," he said, rising halfway. "That can't be. She's hiding something." But Miss Carter already had receipts. IRS records. Bank transfers. Investment statements. His face twisted, red with rage. He slammed his fist on the table. Security moved in. I just sat there, calm as ever, and said, "You don't get to eat twice off my table, Maurice." The gavel dropped. Case dismissed. Outside the courthouse, he lost what little grace he had left, yelling, name-calling, accusing me of betrayal. But I stood firm. "You walked away," I told him. "Now I'm walking too, but toward something better." That very weekend, I rolled out my food truck for the first time. Parked downtown near the library. Opened the window. And started serving plates. Catfish. Colored greens. Mac and cheese. Sweet peach tea that brought grown men to tears. Word spread fast. Miss Vanessa's kitchen was born. People came for the food but stayed for the warmth. I hired 2 teens from the neighborhood, taught them my mama's recipes, and watched them grow. I wasn't just feeding people, I was healing one plate at a time. Maurice. He told anyone who'd listen I tricked him. But folks in Alabama remember the truth. He tried to cash out on someone else's hard work, and lost everything. I started saving again. But this time for me. After a year I left Montgomery behind. Found a small city a few hours away. Bought a little house with a screened porch. Set up shop near the farmer's market. I joined a church where no one knew my story. Just my smile and my cooking. Sometimes I still get calls. "Did you hear what Maurice is up to now?" But I don't let it poison my peace. Some nights, I sit outside my truck with a mason jar of sweet tea, watching the sun dip behind the trees. I think of the woman I used to be. The one who gave until there was nothing left. I honor her. But I don't miss her. Found something better. Me. If you felt this story in your bones, please like, comment, and share it. Someone out there needs to know, you can survive the fire and rise stronger. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. More stories of strength, healing, and truth are on the way.